I'm giving it a second. This time I hope it doesn't cut the beginning off. Andrew Luck, Lamar Miller, both leaving the AFC South. We're going to talk about those huge impacts and how things have changed both for your fantasy as well as for the actual game of football and what kind of implications it has in the AFC South and the whole AFC's going forward.
Yeah.
We're also doing our fantasy draft today, so stick around if you want to catch our cutting-edge fantasy analysis on literally every pick that comes up tonight. It'll be a great way for you to prepare for your fantasy draft because we're going to give you the lowdown on everybody as they come off the board.
Right. Man, I'm excited to get in this draft, but I was shocked. I think the whole world was shocked when it came out that Andrew Luck is going to retire halfway through the preseason game against the Chicago Bears.
Were they right to boo him? I'm going to start with that. And again, today, since we've got some other stuff going on here, I'm not going to be quite as in tune with your comments. We're going to be leaning on Drew for that. But going back to this Andrew Luck thing here, Drew, were they out of line for booing him during the middle of a preseason game like that?
Yes. Absolutely.
You think so?
Yeah. Andrew Luck doesn't owe the Colts fans anything.
He owes them his life.
They obviously think that. Yeah, no, I get it. It makes sense. I mean, if you're a Colts fan, you're probably looking, deep in the playoffs, hopeful Super Bowl run. I mean, this is something that you've been looking forward to after last season, losing that last playoff game. You're like, guess what? We get another season of doing this. We should be able to be right back where we were. Let's focus on this offseason. Let's focus on getting better in the draft and in our locker room, and some of your young talent gets 1 year older into the league. Everything should kind of be panning out. It looks like it is. Andrew Luck gets a hiccup with the injury. They're not releasing exactly what it is. I get concerned as a casual fan watching the Colts. Is like the Colts aren't going to be that good if Andrew Luck's out for a couple weeks, and then out of nowhere a retirement, and they find out in the middle of a preseason game, 2 weeks away from the start of the season. Yeah, it makes sense to boom.
Ian, good to see you, man. He says, how about them Steelers? They just got done clapping my Titans' cheeks in the third. Yeah, exactly. We're going there. In the third preseason game. Obviously, Titans didn't play their starters very long. I'm going to just chalk it up to that.
That's
but
all
things
it
were
was.
looking pretty bad for the starting group. Steelers have looked good, right?
Steelers have looked good.
So how much weight do we put into the preseason? Absolutely zero. But it's an encouraging sign. You'd rather see that than see them suck. Also, Sharif's chiming in saying he is the 8th pick in tonight's draft, man. We're happy for you. And Nathan somehow loses one of his guys in Andrew Luck and still takes a shot at my team. How does that work? He says the Titans finally have a chance to win the AFC South now. Look, as a Titans fan, I'm not happy about this. And Sharif was saying that I'm happy he's retired. No, I'm not happy about it. You need to be a good enough team to beat someone like Andrew Luck, not just wait him out and hope he retires. Because just because he's gone doesn't mean there's not that caliber quarterback floating around in other spots in the AFC. Looking at Kansas City, looking at Pittsburgh, looking at the big, the 600-pound gorilla in the room and Tom Brady, right?
Right. Oh, man. I actually, as a Titans fan, you should be rejoiced that this is happening, that he's retiring. I know that we talked about it many times that the AFC South was probably the toughest division in the NFL, if not, one of them for sure. With Luck being gone, I mean, this dramatically drops. I mean, I don't think the Colts are now the division winner that we had them during the offseason. And to be honest with you, I think they're shy of the playoffs, too. I know Jacoby Brissett, a lot of people are high on this guy and think that he has a bright future with the NFL. I know they took a lot of phone calls from the other teams in the NFL during these off seasons asking he's available, and they said no every time, and they're looking this guy to be a valuable backup. But now they're expecting this guy to play 16 games. It didn't go very well the last time they thought about this.
No, it definitely didn't. For a backup, as far as it goes, Jacoby Brissett's probably about the best you're going to have, but do you see Jacoby Brissett squaring up with the likes of those quarterbacks I just named in the AFC to get you to the Super Bowl? Can he go to Pittsburgh to beat the Steelers? Can he go to Kansas City? Can he go to New England and beat those guys? My money's on no, and I've said this before Andrew Luck got hurt. I don't feel like the Colts are a Super Bowl roster. They're not built like the Saints, where every position you're looking at quality players, or very nearly every position you're looking at quality players. They've got a couple great guys. They've got Darius Leonard, who was absolutely fantastic last year. They have Malik Hooker. They have a good corner or two, and they also have an offensive line that played really, really well last year, but in years past has looked very bad.
Right.
When you take Andrew Luck out of this equation,
right,
I think this team is going to be incredibly susceptible, kind of like Sharif was saying and Vegas was saying, that they went from 10 wins all the way down to about 6.
Yeah, it's It's going to be a change. There's no doubt about it. And I think that's the reason why you see the Colts fans booing. I think they were ready for another big season. And you got to think, guys, they've also waited out a year and a half waiting for Andrew Luck to get healthy the first time.
They definitely have.
Nathan did say he thinks that they're going to go 8-8 or 9-7. So he has them a little bit higher than
I'm with Vegas.
With I'm at and where Vegas is at.
I said 5-6. Like right as soon as this happened, I said the Colts are going to win 5-6 games.
Yeah.
And even though they are in a division that has some question marks itself, all of a sudden you went from just being able to outshoot everybody in a year where the Texans' secondary seems to have fallen apart and the Titans seem to have some questions rushing the passer. You go from that to now all of a sudden you need Jacoby Brissett to go outshoot some of these teams that have great defenses. I mean, Houston's the weakest defense at this point, not named Indy in the AFC South.
Right.
And their front seven's still really, really amazing, right?
Yeah, no, it is. Ian says Jacksonville's ecstatic about Luck being gone. They just went from 4th to 3rd in their division.
I don't know about that. Well, stay tuned, right? I mean, who knows? Maybe Nick Foles gets hurt, and we're back to Gardner Minshew, leading them to 3 wins. There's a good chance the Colts finish last in the division, kind of like Ian has said, but don't rule them out, right? T.Y. Hilton, even though he didn't do good with Brissett last time. T.Y. Hilton, Eric Ebron now. They have Jack Doyle coming back. They have Paris Campbell. They've got guys.
They do got guys. I don't think it's going to make a difference. I honestly don't. And another big reason why you don't have fantasy drafts
Too early
and before the 3rd week of preseason. You just don't do it.
It's also why we picked this day, because hopefully you've held out to past this point, and hopefully what you see us do later in the show, coming up about 8 minutes from now, will help you kind of draft in the next 2 to 3 weeks. I like to do it after week 4, because by then everyone's in rest and preparation mode. It's almost like the first week of the season where you're going to be preparing for your week 1 opponent. You know, even if you do it this late, you could have something happen to one of these guys in, you know, even though training camp is broken, in some kind of off-the-field stuff that you just can't prepare for. Andrew Luck. I mean, we see it happen. It seems like there's one guy every year that tears his ACL doing non-contact stuff or anything else. Or this year it just happens to be a retirement.
Yeah. Real quick, just my final thoughts on Andrew Luck and everything that's going on with him. I knew when I came out as a high ankle sprain, I know it went from a calf to a high ankle, that when they said the high ankle, I knew that this was going to be a lot more than week 1. I don't know if you saw the episode where we talked about it when it first came out. I was saying anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks off of the year. I don't really think the high ankle sprains are something that you can come back with and just play even partially healed. It needs to be completely healed. And now that he's announced his retirement, that's coming out, there's something wrong with the bone.
Right.
So we don't know if it's misdiagnosed. We don't know if the Colts are trying to hide some information from everybody. But it definitely didn't seem to be handled properly with, or at least what was told to the public.
Absolutely.
But Andrew must have felt the same way, because here he is. He's tired of being rehabbed.
Then again, he could have gone out and said something. Like, when they were like, don't worry, it's a high ankle sprain. He could have gone out and said, no, I mean, like, my muscle's not attached to the bone or something along those lines. He definitely could have stepped out of line and said, I'm hurt worse than this team is letting on. Instead, he decided to be the good soldier and, kind of put the company line out there.
Yeah.
And for whatever advantage that actually gives you, I mean, teams, would prepare for Andrew Luck and come in and face Jacoby Brissett, and that would be an advantage to you by not telling them that ahead of time?
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I know some teams like to play it close to the vest. The Patriots are the best example of that, and everyone tries to emulate them because they've had so much success. Yeah. But at some point, you got to be like, okay, my guy is hurt, and we'll just acknowledge it for your fan base, for everybody else, because it's not fair to them to just have him come out and say, oh, by the way, my shoulder is separated, my throwing shoulder is separated, and there's no chance we see him in this entire year. It's not, because these people are buying season tickets. They're buying single-game tickets. It's not fair to them to expect to see Andrew Luck back at some point and take the risk and put the money down because you told them it was a minor injury, and then you pull the rug out from them after they dropped how many hundreds of dollars to go see every NFL game these days?
I mean, it's a good possibility that's what they did. I mean, this is a business. It's about making money. It's a good possibility. Ian says the Colts should go get Dobbs.
No. I think we talked about this before. I've watched this man play in college. I've watched him play in the preseason. Josh Dobbs is not the answer to anybody's problem. I'm frankly surprised he's a backup in the NFL with what I saw out of him in college. He's a physical guy who can run, but his accuracy throwing the ball is one of the worst I've seen coming out of college. They took him, I almost believe, as an athlete. It's just one of those guys, kind of like Taysom Hill, where if it works out, that's great, but he's able to do some stuff physically that we like. I think Josh Dobbs is one of those guys you could probably go get, but he's not better than Jacoby Brissett.
Thanks, Sports Around the Bar. We appreciate that. Mm-hmm. We greatly appreciate it.
They're taking our first 5 picks. Also, Justin, good to see you, man. We are ready for some football. We can't wait to analyze everybody's picks. We can't wait to go in there and be like, what are you doing, man? No, we're not going to. Well,
we might.
Don't be too ridiculous, but.
Well, let's get to Lamar Miller. Let's talk about him real quick before we have to get in this draft. Let's give him a couple of minutes. Two-part question for you. How important is it now that they went out and got Duke Johnson? And how much does this hurt their chance of now possibly winning the division?
That third-round pick looks a lot better now. With Duke Johnson coming in, because with Lamar Miller missing almost the entirety of this season, they're going to need a guy who's going to be able to carry the load. I don't think Duke Johnson's going to be that guy entirely. You should love him in fantasy. Spoiler alert to our draft strategy. You should love him in fantasy because he's going to get more touches now, because Houston does not have an heir apparent, especially with Alfred Blue gone. I think when you look at this Houston running back room, things are getting pretty scarce. There are some guys you're going to be able to roll the dice on here. Maybe scoop them off the waiver wire and hold them on to the bottom of your fantasy roster. Hope they take over as the power back that gets a lot of carries.
Just go back to Andrew Luck. Steven says, if you paid to watch Luck, then you were clearly not a true Colts fan.
Well, this has been your guy for like the past 9 years, right?
7 years.
7 years. Okay, excuse me. This has been your guy for the past 7 years that has been the entire engine of your offense and the entire engine of your team. You can't point to the last great Colts defense. Peyton Manning was probably under center, and great is in quotations.
Yeah, they had great pass rush.
Exactly. So Andrew Luck has been the lifeblood of this team. We saw even in years without him, we've seen this team struggle. I think, again, Colts fans are right to boo him even. And this is going to sound harsh, but this was the rug being ripped out from underneath your fans. I mean, how many season tickets were bought with the promise of this is a Super Bowl team, and then it's not even an injury. You can get over an injury. It's a retirement where a guy has decided to quit. And I don't want to be Doug Gottlieb out there because he came out and said this is like the most millennial thing ever. As a millennial, let me just say, damn, man, that's harsh. But, Drew, I am drifting towards that side of the camp a little bit because this, to me, almost sounds like the guy who quits on the team. Because this didn't happen in the offseason. If this was in the offseason, he says, look, my body can't do it, I'd understand it a lot more. This is a couple weeks before the season starts. And he's just like, you know what? It ain't worth it to me anymore.
Well,
that's tough. I know, we got to get into it.
We got to keep going. I'm sorry. Neil, good to see you, man. I'm glad you're always in here with your positive attitude, not positive attitude. Sharif says, the Texans also need to trade for a running back. He says his Ravens are loaded at running back. I see Dixon go to Houston for a 5th or 6th round. Is this something that they should do, is now trade for another running back?
That's a second pick. I would try to push it down to 2020, but if you could do that, I'd say it's a good idea. I'd spring for Mark Ingram. I'd try to get bold here. Try to scoop him for a 4th or a 5th round pick. I mean, the guy's 28, 29 years old. I'd go get the power back that you know is going to be able to handle the load because he's done it for the Saints for this long. Yeah. We haven't really seen Kenneth Dixon be the man. We've seen Mark Ingram do it. Right. And Baltimore, with their plethora of running backs, might be willing to listen to that offer because they still have Edwards. They still have Kenneth Dixon, like you said. They've got a lot of guys.
Yeah. Guys, we hate to cut all the news short, but we do got to get ready for this draft.
So we're going to shift over.
We're going to shift over. Guys, grab your chips, grab your beers, your favorite candy.
I was going to say, I'm going to have to reload on a beer before we start on this.
I didn't even drink
The draft
mine.
is about to start.
I don't even know. What am I doing? Can't even talk sports right here.
Fair question. Let me roll over here and see who has the actual first pick. I believe it's Austin Martin who has to decide one of the more tougher decisions here lately, right? I mean, in years past, it's Todd Gurley or Le'Veon Bell.
Oh, man.
This year, there's probably 4 or 5 guys that you could probably take towards the top of a draft. Maybe Zeke's not one of them.
He's taking Zeke. I feel it.
I think the first auto draft guy is taking Zeke.
That's true. Yeah.
Hopefully we keep people in here for as long as possible. I see we're still missing a couple names, but hopefully we get them in here before the draft starts. We got 15 seconds.
Well, if Austin doesn't come in, he's going to get Saquon. So
I saw Austin in the comments. So Austin, if you're there, roll over, buddy.
What's up, Rob? I'm glad you could join us. Jordan is saying Brissett is a bust.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't. What do you expect? Like, do you expect him to be, the guy from the Chiefs, whose name I can't think of? Do you expect him to be Tom Brady? If that's what you're comparing him to, yeah, he's going to come up way short. But if you're comparing him to a backup quarterback, I'd say you're probably doing a lot better than a lot of people are. Oh, Austin is in the draft now, so that's good. He is on the clock, and he's going to get to pick his guy. And again, where would you go, Drew? If this is your pick, where would you go?
Do you want to move our pitcher to the bottom right instead of over where the pick is?
Sure. How about that? That's going to look weird. I apologize for it right now, but hopefully it doesn't look too strange seeing us shift real quick. How did that look? I can't wait to watch it on your replay.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. We're always ahead. We're always ahead here.
Pick 1 is off the board, too.
And Austin takes Saquon. I think this is a solid pick. I honestly, truly do. I think it's a solid number 1. Not only does he run the rock a lot, he also gets the passes as well, the catch receptions, and a half-point reception league. This is a great pickup for the number 1 pick. I can't blame anyone for taking this guy.
The one thing I will say, pump the brakes on, is the Giants are probably not going to be very good. If they only have 2 or 3 wins, do they kind of limit his touches to try to protect him for years going forward? So there could be a chance when we go towards our playoff set that Saquon gets a lighter workload when you're trying to get him into the heavier working for your playoff, your fantasy playoffs, right?
Right. This is going to be a little difficult because it's hard to know who everyone's picking.
They'll tell you down underneath.
There we go. All
Pick
right.
number 2, Alvin Kamara. I think that would have been my number 1. I would have went Alvin Kamara first. Nothing against Saquon. This is just a matter of opinion for me. I think the first 3 are pretty interchangeable. Even Christian McCaffrey. Again, McCaffrey and Barkley are likely to be shut down, I think, towards the end of the season, or more likely to be shut down than some other players, especially the Panthers, especially the Giants. We don't really think those teams are going anywhere. So unless they shock people, there might come a time around week 10, 11, 12 where the team decides to ease up on their workload and go with somebody else.
All right. Zeke Elliott is off the board at number 4. I believe that was an auto pick. I'm not 100% sure.
That seems pretty likely. Jonathan, good to see you, man. He's saying go Eagles.
Can't blame him there. I mean, if this guy decides to play, he should have been number 1. I mean, I'm going to sit there and say it. I think if Zeke Elliott was going to play week 1, he should have probably been the first running back off the board. But we don't even know if he's going to play a single down this year.
It's a bold move, but if it works out, I think Zeke Elliott is still one of the top picks. If you got to limp for a couple weeks till they get the deal done, you can still stack your team out. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is coming off the board with pick 5. How do you feel about that? Neil the GOAT taking him here.
What? Man, not Tom Brady. I'm surprised here. No, this is the best wide receiver.
Mr. Big Chest Feet is on the clock.
This is the best receiver in the NFL. He is a must first-round pick.
And no hesitation from Mr. Big Chest Feet. Frostbite or not, he's taking Le'Veon Bell here. What do you think about that? Yeah, Mr. Big Chest is Antonio Brown. His feet.
Oh, I was like, what are you talking about? I love this pick. I honestly think that the Jets are going to use and abuse Le'Veon Bell, and he has gone out and said, fantasy owners, I'm sorry. I'm going to make it up for it. This is a must pick again in the first round. I know there's a lot of discussion between me and my friends about if he's worth taking. He is worth this pick. I love this pick.
Speaking of which, Drew, what the hell are we going to do?
Dude, I don't have a clue.
We have to decide.
Michael Thomas is off the board. That was one of our picks.
They're shooting our drafts. They're shooting a bunch of holes in our draft strategy. Before this, we were like, we'll do the fade.
Justin Tucker.
We're going to skip. Okay, perfect. We're going to skip the running backs. We're going to go receiver heavy early, go get 2 studs. I don't know if that's the case
David
anymore.
Johnson.
Todd Gurley. They're snapping up everybody.
We got to get a running back.
Leave somebody
right?
for us. Leave somebody
We got
for
to
us.
get a running back, right?
Oh, I don't know. I'm looking at this board, and I'm kind of concerned about it. I can't say that. What about down here? I hope they can't see my cursor. I don't think they can. What about down here?
No, that's too loaded to get that guy. I think we should go what we talked about the first time.
Pat Mahomes. Gotcha. Perfect.
Yes. and Buckner. Buckner. I don't even know how to say my own kicker's name.
Butker.
Yeah, whatever. That one.
Good job, Drew. Good job.
That guy.
You're a picture of professionalism, as always. And then Devontae Adams. How do you feel about Devontae Adams coming off pick 11?
Touchdown machine.
Sorry, pick 10, I should say. Is that too high for the 4th or 5th receiver off the board?
A lot of people love him.
They do. What about my set?
You love him.
What about my set? We're still seeing my 2 guys that I said we could go with here. Is that something you want to do?
No.
Okay, fair enough. Thanks. I'll just shut up for the rest of the draft. Thanks for that. Let's hit a couple comments here while we wait on our pick.
All right. Okay. Hold on. John says at this point, no, go get us 2 receivers. He thinks that we should just jump for 2 receivers.
So would you go Julio
picks.
Odell? Is that something they could do? I mean, I think Juju's overrated here. I've talked about that. Even though I think he's going to be a good receiver, I don't think he's the 13th best fantasy player in football right now. I think him this high is a bit of a stretch. So I'm going to say pump the brakes a little bit on Juju.
We're going to take Juju on the next pick, Big Blue.
Well, we'll see. All right, well, it's our turn. He took Julio Jones.
No!
More than likely on the
that was
the
my
auto
guy,
draft.
dude.
You're going to say Julio? Well, we got 2 back-to-back, right? With the bottom of the draft, it's a snake pick. What are you going here? I think we should go Tyreek. Do we take the first receiver? We go Tyreek Hill here? We'll get one of your guys?
Oh, man, you just made me happy. We're going to skip on Odell.
Is that what we're doing?
I'm
Before we
asking.
pick him, we're skipping Odell. Odell's had injury histories. I think has an injury history here. I don't know what he's going to look like in this offense with a lot of mouths to feed. I think we fade Odell this year and let somebody else make that mistake. Okay? I think we go Tyreek Hill here. We got 25 seconds before it's forcing me to make the pick. And then who are we going round 2?
All right.
We talked about it. It's not a good move to go Kelsey Tyreek.
Why is that not a good move?
Because they're going to have to share touchdowns. Unless the Chiefs just double everybody's scoring, they'll get close, but not that much.
All right, go ahead and take Tyreek.
All right, we'll take Tyreek Hill. Now that he's off the board, what do you think? Joe Mixon here, Dalvin Cook? Joe Mixon, just like those guys at the top of the board, might get shut down. When the Bengals stink, he might not get a lot of carries towards the back half of the fantasy season. That could slow us down a little bit.
And then Dalvin Cook, he's probably staying healthy, being on the field.
Go Mike Evans and count on Tampa having to throw all day, every day? That would be our double receiver set like we talked about, or is that too much of a reach? I mean, James Conner's still on the board if we want a running back, but he kind of shared a little bit. He got hurt last year. I'm not crazy about James Conner. I'd go Dalvin Cook before James Conner for sure. Keenan Allen, Nick Chubb, I'm fading 100%. We got 20 seconds to figure this out, Drew.
Let's, I'm down for Dalvin Cook. I'm down.
Dalvin Cook, huh? All right.
We're taking him.
Dalvin Cook is our second pick here. He's risky. This is risky, but if you get a full season, the Vikings have said we need to be more committed to running the football. I think this could be the pick that kind of makes a fantasy team.
Yeah.
Because he catches the ball really well. He runs a lot.
Right.
You also have passing weapons. The emphasis isn't going to be 100% on him, but you're also going to see Dalvin Cook get a lot of touches because the Vikings still want to be physical and play good defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Bees, I'm eating Doritos, Cool Ranch, and Twizzlers, man. And beer. Of course, beer. This is a draft.
Do you need another one?
No, I haven't even been able to drink.
Just like I planned.
James Conner is now off the board.
Is that too high? I found our leaker. That's why your cooler smells like beer. Perfect.
Dude, shotgun it.
I'm not trying to make a mess out of the garage. I just got it under the level. That's all right. We'll keep going. So we got James Conner off the board. Tell me about James Conner. How do you feel about him?
Man, I like James Conner. I do. But the problem is he couldn't stay healthy as well. This is another one of those running backs that has all the potential in the world. He's a number one. Should do really well, especially taking over a place like Le'Veon Bell who gets tons of receptions. You'd think Conner would sit there and step in and be the exact same scenario, right? But he wasn't. I think, again, that shows how good Le'Veon Bell was.
Yeah, I'm with you. Now we got Travis Kelce gone, too. I think this is a tough pick. I took him at the bottom of the second round last year. He worked out really well. He's obviously the best tight end in football. Fantasy-wise, he's the best guy to go to because the Chiefs score so much. But Mahomes doesn't throw to tight ends like Alex Smith did. That, to me, is a bit of a concern. I mean, when you've got guys like Ertz, when you've got a couple of these other top-level tight ends, I think you can almost wait and not take Travis Kelce because there are other picks. Years past, it was Kelce and Gronk, right? And then Ertz kind of stepped onto the scene.
Right, but you can't sit there and tell me that Mahomes doesn't throw the ball to Kelce.
He does, but he doesn't focus on Kelce. When Alex Smith was there,
right,
it was the magical pick, right? Because he loves throwing to his tight ends, and you've got a great one there, arguably the best one, even when Gronk was playing. I'd probably still go Gronk, but it's close. I still think with taking Travis Kelce here, maybe a slight reach, but he's a great player. We know he's going to put up points.
Right.
All right, Juju's gone now. I wonder if that was auto pick or whether that was somebody actually taking him. Niners fan for life is up there. I know it's his turn. I know he's good. And then Nick Chubb after. Nick Chubb, to me, is one of the most worrying guys. How many carries is he going to get? How many touches is he going to get when Kareem Hunt is active? Especially with John Dorsey formerly being of the Chiefs. Scary stuff. Scary stuff.
And this is something, actually, John, me and you had this conversation. As I said, Glenn Dorsey is his guy type of GM. And he's going to make sure that his guy, including Kareem Hunt, is on the field getting these receptions. I think Nick Chubb will do great until Kareem Hunt gets there, and then he's going to be splitting the carries.
Mr. Big Chest off the block. Is Antonio Brown in the second round too high? Pick 18, is that too high for him?
No, he's still a top-end receiver. He still is going to be the number one.
I'd go Mike Evans, who just went right behind him ahead of Antonio Brown. Didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I mean, but I think you could go either way and be perfectly fine. Patrick Mahomes is gone. Neil, you're killing me, man. You're a Patriots fan. There's not a single Patriot up the board
Tom Brady's
yet.
still on the board. Actually, one just went behind him, Julian Edelman, gone right away. Another guy that, with all these new weapons going into New England, I wonder if the touches take a small step down. Also, Drew is of the mindset that we spend pick 13 on Patrick Mahomes.
That's the plan was. Yeah.
I didn't listen to the plan.
No, you did not. You told me no.
So if we lose, this is my fault now?
Yeah.
Because we didn't get Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Well,
13's too high for a quarterback. There's too many good quarterbacks.
You wanted to take Zeke and Melvin Gordon.
Neil did jump up. I still do. Melvin Gordon's still there. Thanks for blowing our pick. But as for Patrick Mahomes, I think any quarterback, you're going to be within a couple points of each other on any given week. It's too high to spend a second-round pick on a quarterback for me when you can get value in rounds 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at quarterback. So that's my thought process when it comes to that.
All right. Odell Beckham Jr., Keenan Allen. A wide receiver kind of stretch here with Edelman, Beckham, and Allen.
Let's take a look at the running back set. There's still names there. This is kind of surprising. In years past, it's been running back, running back, running back, running back. Everyone's been diving out there trying to get it.
It's a passing league now.
And I also think there's a lot more options where they're splitting carries. We don't have the 10 to 12 bell cows that we had for the past couple of years. People are going to be betting on splitting the carries with their guys and getting a guy who's going to give you some fantasy points and go get the stud wide receiver who's going to go just rock the week for you, right? Put up the 18 to 25 points you need. So that's interesting. Now another tight end off the board, George Kittle. Now I'm starting to get worried. I'm starting to worry that tight ends aren't going to make it all the way down to pick 36.
Well, let's go to the tight end list. Let's look at him.
Let's take a look here. As we roll over, that's receivers. We still got Zach Ertz. We still got a couple big names out there. What about Hunter Henry? This is a bit of a conversation piece. I missed all of last year, or almost all of last year, effectively. Is it too early or too much of a risk to take him as the fourth or fifth tight end off the board?
No, I think he's more realistic than. We had to say something, didn't we?
We did. I think we got spies in the room. They're listening to our thought process.
Are we on camera?
We might be.
Guys, quit listening to us while you're doing the draft. Go ahead and.
Zach Ertz is now off the board, so we've had the big run on tight ends. So, Drew, it looks like we're going to have to find value at tight end instead of taking one of the big names. I'm not going to point to anybody, but I still see some value. I said I wasn't going to say names. I still like Trey Burton. I think that's a pretty good set from a team who's going to throw a little bit.
Can I say a name?
You can ruin our draft, too. Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Delaney Walker.
Yeah, absolutely.
He says he's going to have 200 receptions this year.
Especially if Marcus is playing. He's the only guy he can seem to throw to. So, 100% Delaney Walker's still a great pick.
Oh.
Next, we have Derrick Henry and Joe Mixon going. We're back on running backs.
Man.
Interesting choices. Both, I think, good players. I like Joe Mixon going here. I think this is right about where you want him, round 3, towards the top of it. You're getting a guy who's likely to be a bell cow, might be the best and healthiest offensive weapon in Cincinnati for an offense that was clicking last year. The offensive line's a little bit of a concern, but if you give the ball to Joe Mixon as many times as the Bengals are likely to do, you can have some success in fantasy.
Adam Thielen is off the board.
I don't like Derrick Henry as much, though. He was already on one of my losers picks. He had 4 amazing weeks towards the end of last season. But this is the same guy in the midseason the Titans were talking about replacing with somebody nobody's ever heard of, if you're not a Titans fan, David Fluellen.
Josh Jacobs is now off the board.
Interesting pick, but I think Jalen Richard's going to steal some of these receiving downs, so it's going to be interesting to see how much usage he gets. When you're spending a first-round pick on a running back, though, I expect Oakland to use him some. I don't think that's a bad spot, but I think he's going to be a little bit more of a gamble player.
Leonard Fournette is now off.
We're back on the running back run.
I want to go back to Adam Thielen. In my opinion, even though Diggs is just as great as a receiver, I think Adam Thielen is a step above. But can Kirk Cousins make him a legitimate fantasy threat?
Damian Williams, 3rd-round pick. Stop stealing my sleeper running backs that I told you to steal in the last episode I was on in the actual studio.
We're canceling the draft.
I know. Yeah, no Chiefs left, right? Hey, we got one. We got Tyree.
Thank God.
How many Titans do we have? Yeah, okay, so let's talk about who's really getting ripped off here. Just kidding, we're not taking Titans.
Melvin Gordon is off the board.
That was a good value pick. If he comes back and you're getting a guy that should be a first-round pick, even if he's a bottom first-round pick, if he plays this year, you just stole the draft, right? You got the steal of the draft because you're going to get 2 high-caliber running backs if that's the way you went in round 1, or you're going to have 2 high-caliber receivers and a high-caliber running back to go with it. So, great pick by Team Sean. I think that was fantastic. Can't wait to see what we're going to get. Speaking of which, we got to figure out what we're going to do here.
What? Don't say anything. They're just going to take it. Big Blue's already all over whatever we say he's going to take.
Oh, things getting a little skinny here at running back. Good thing we have, well, one of them.
All right.
What about
he
this
takes
right
Chris
here?
Carson. Well, it's
then
it's about to be our pick.
Yeah, I was going to say Chris Carson, great running back. He was on my love list. I think he's one of those guys that is likely to get the most touches.
And James
White. He's going to give you 8 amazing weeks, and he's going to give you 8 kind of struggly ones because Sony Michel is getting the touches in those weeks. The question to me is, can you pick him right? All right, Drew. We're on the clock, man. What's it going to be?
Well, hold on. Let me get these tears out of my eyes real quick. I think we have to look at running backs, man. I mean, I don't know how we don't.
How about this? How about Kerryon Johnson?
What about
We
Aaron
got Aaron
Jones?
Jones, too. I love Aaron Jones. The question is, can Aaron Rodgers make it through the season and make him worth it?
What about Sony Michel?
We could go Sony Michel. We could go back-to-back. They're both kind of what-if guys. I think that'd be good. It'd be a good flex player. The only thing is we're leaving some high-caliber receivers out there, but receivers easier to come by. We've got 18 seconds.
Do you believe Amari Cooper being our third
Aaron
round
Jones or Sony Michel? Take your pick. It's your choice. Take your pick.
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones it is. I like it. He's likely to be the bell cow. Do you want to go back-to-back and go Sony Michel here and get the deeper running back set? This is usually the way I play. I usually go double running back or try to stack my running backs up and go everywhere else. But we've got guys like Stephon Diggs out here. We got Brandon Cooks. We got Amari Cooper. We've got some studs out here. Do you want to just stack up at wide receiver and have Tyreek Hill and another stud playing across from him here?
Or do Cooper Kupp.
We got to go Cooper first, right? He's the only legitimate receiver in Dallas. We got to go Stephon Diggs. Right?
Amari Cooper. Let's do it.
Amari Cooper. We're going to fall into the Dallas trap.
Yeah, we're doing it.
All right. Amari Cooper it is. So, we have a long time to wait. This is the toughest part about picking at the bottom or the top of the draft. We now have forever to wait, and there's going to be nobody left. And I just wrecked us because we didn't take another running back. We should have went Sony Michel. No, I'm kidding. I think we've got a pretty good roster right now. Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper. I think we got three guys that are likely to be really, really good, and we've got a bit of a question mark at Aaron Jones, but I'm an Aaron Jones guy. I think he's by far the most talented guy in that Green Bay running back set, and Green Bay, who likes spreading it out, should have some running opportunities for a guy like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
We'll just have to find somebody to play when he plays against Chicago.
Right. This is really hard to eat and drink beer and talk about sports.
I'm carrying it, aren't I?
Yes, you're doing a great job. I can drink and talk sports, but when I throw eating in this, it doesn't go well.
Big Blue goes Kerryon Johnson. He made up for our mistakes. Another likely bell cow, especially with Theo Riddick gone. Does Matt Patricia switch to more of a running offense to make it worth taking him here? I think a fourth-round pick for Kerryon Johnson is a good pick, but is he worth being the starter for your team?
I mean, he's going to be. I mean, he's going to be the starter for the Lions. I mean, they have made it a legitimate reason to be picking him is they're going to run the rock with him. And, John, we did not pick your brain. You just read ours.
I was just saying, didn't we tell everyone who we like and who we don't like
before we said that? He says, I'm thinking Cooper and Jones, and then we picked Jones and Cooper.
We stole it off your comment.
No, we did not.
Don't want to tell you.
No, we did not.
I did. Even though I can't see the comments right now.
Oh, cool. My video stopped. I sure hope everyone's still with us.
It says we're still on here. Hopefully.
Well, all right,
I think we're good. I think it was just on your end.
All right.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right, let's talk about a couple more of these picks here, Drew.
Let's do it.
Stephon Diggs, Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Cooks, and then Mark Ingram. A big-time receiving run. Is it too early to go Mark Ingram? How much faith do you have in Mark Ingram going into that backfield? The Ravens obviously like him if they're going to go pay him money in free agency to bring him into the fold, right?
Right.
Is he going to be the lead back? Or are we going to see Kenneth Dixon eat some carries? Are we going to see Gus Edwards again? Are we going to see two or three guys that nobody's ever heard of step up like Gus Edwards did last year that are going to steal these carries away from Mark Ingram?
Well, I think Gus Edwards earns a position on this team. The way he ran last year.
I definitely agree there.
He earned a position to play. So do I think he's going to steal carries? Absolutely, and every right he should.
Next one, T.Y. Hilton from Mr. Big Chest Feet. The only thing I will say, be very, very careful with T.Y. in your drafts. And the reason I'll say that is because Jacoby Brissett struggled to get him the ball when he got his playing time last time Andrew Luck was out. I know, I had him. It's one of those things that even though T.Y. is an amazing player, he needs a quarterback who's going to give him the ball, and so far we have not seen Jacoby Brissett be able to utilize him. Jacoby Brissett's older now. It's one of those things where he's been in the offense, and he's been on the team. He's had time to build relationship with these guys. Do you see a big enough change to take T.Y. Hilton in your draft? Or is he off your board?
I think he's off my board. Neil went out and got Sony Michel. He finally took a Patriot. I like this pick. If you're going to get one running back that's going to run the rock, this is this guy. James White definitely is the reception king when it comes to it, but Sony is a great pickup. And then our second quarterback is off the board for the team No Luck. He takes Aaron Rodgers.
Well, he dodged luck.
Is this a great pick?
If he stays healthy, yeah. I still think it's early for quarterback. I'm Mr. Fade quarterbacks. So in your fantasy league, I mean, hold on, I'm going to give away our draft strategy here, but there are so many quarterbacks that are going to be within a couple points of each other. I'm not a big believer in drafting them super early in drafts, but if you get a stud that you know is going to be great week in and week out, sometimes it's nice to have that guy where you just don't have to worry about it, right? You get you get every week starter. So to me, that's more about what it's about with the Aaron Rodgers pick. I like the Robert Woods pick by Nathan. I think that was a good pickup. Robert Woods might be the sleeper pick, especially with Cooper Kupp there. Teams are going to focus on Kupp when he starts having all that success that he had last year. Also, Cooper Kupp gone. Team Martin scooping him up.
No!
All the Rams receivers are gone.
Tyler Lockett's off the board. I told you we should have took him with our first pick.
Our draft is busted.
You got to be kidding me.
Dave Montgomery, too.
I don't even like you guys.
Dave Montgomery coming off the board before Tyreek Cohen, I should say. That, to me, is an interesting pick. Do you believe in Chicago going with the power first running game? Or do you think Tyreek Cohen would have been the better pick?
I'm not gonna lie. I like David Montgomery a lot. I think
he is still there.
I think he's gonna be a great running back for the Chicago Bears. Taking him before Tyreek Cohen, I don't know. Tyreek Cohen stole almost every down Jordan Howard had, and Jordan Howard was a legitimate running back in the NFL. You know, he's had proven seasons, and Tyreek Cohen stole plays from him and snatched from him. Does David Montgomery do the exact same thing?
Yeah, I think David Montgomery's like a great value pick. I think it's still a little early. I think you probably should have went to Tyreek Cohen first because Jordan Howard was there, and obviously we know Jordan Howard was a very good running back, very good power back, and they still kind of shoved him to the side and tried to focus more on Tyreek Cohen. I think that's the way to go if you're talking about any of these Chicago running backs, but they, like a lot of teams, have a split backfield. There's value in David Montgomery, maybe not this much value.
Calvin Ridley, Mike Williams, and our third quarterback, Carson Wentz, off the board.
Carson Wentz too high. There's guys like Russell Wilson who will run and everything out there. I know, I'm killing this, Drew. Sorry. There's guys like Russell Wilson out there who will run a little bit more. Even though I love Carson Wentz as a player, fantasy-wise, he's had injuries. He's in a good offense, but there are a lot of good quarterbacks and good offenses. There are other ways you probably could have went than Carson Wentz. Unless you just... it's got to be a read, right? I mean, Arcega-Whiteside coming in. They have Alshon Jeffrey. The problem is he likes throwing to tight ends more than receivers. I think you need to focus on other positions than what you spent on Carson Wentz here. But that's okay. I don't hate the pick. I just think it's a little early on him. Another one, Marlon Mack. This guy's the steal of the draft for me. I think he's the best and most talented Indianapolis running back, but I loved him a lot more when Luck was there.
Yeah.
So now that Marlon Mack is playing with Jacoby Brissett, I don't know. It's one of those things. I'm not sure what Jacoby Brissett's check down percentage is. I haven't looked at it. He never struck me as the guy that throws to the running back a lot. So That is where I think Marlon Mack does his most damage.
Kenyon Drake and then Philip Lindsay.
How did Philip Lindsay fall this far?
Because he's not that good. I'm joking.
You're hoping so. Look, I think, again, split backfield, that can kind of limit you in fantasy, but he's obviously the number one option in Denver.
Right.
I think Royce Freeman, even though everyone talked about him all last season, all preseason, as being their stud running back, we saw Philip Lindsay outperform him almost every week he was healthy. And then Deshaun Watson. How do you feel about Deshaun Watson?
Hold on. Ty says it was between Marlon Mack, Kenyon Drake, David Montgomery, or Tyreek Cohen. He took the chance on the power back. And that's the reason why he took David Montgomery.
Okay. All right. Also, Team Sean stealing Evan Ingram from us. Tight ends getting thinner and thinner. That's a great pickup, but just like the Giants.
If you would have listened to me, we would have had a
Travis
quarterback,
Kelce,
a wide receiver, a running back, and a tight end.
all in the first round. I know. You had all these picks, and you're like, we'll just grab them all.
All Kansas City players. I don't know why you didn't do it.
Perfect. Evan Ingram's a great pick. I think he's one of the best, mid-range tight ends that you don't have to spend that second-round pick to go get him. But you're also getting an amazing player who has high-level potential.
Yeah.
The Giants are likely to throw a lot this year. Even though they've got Saquon Barkley and a better offensive line, I think the defense is going to be terrible. Evan Ingram might be the best receiving option in that group now.
The way he
coming
played,
up. Oh, we're on the clock. Here we go.
Oh God, the way he played last year, he was huge.
All right, so Chris Goodwin is who it wants to give us. Do we need another receiver? I think we should look at some running backs here. Let's see where we're at. We got Tyreek Cohen, Darius Geis. If you're feeling lucky, Duke Johnson is there. Do we get ballsy and go for the Houston product here?
Or do we look at tight end? Guess we got back-to-back.
We do. And on tight end, I'm not a big fan of O.J. Howard. I think Cameron Brate's the better receiver of the two. I think they're going to use him to block a little bit. He's going to get some value here, but I think Cameron Brate's going to really weigh him down.
Your boy Jared Cook's sitting there.
Yeesh. So's my boy Delaney Walker. 20 seconds, Drew. We got to make something happen.
You want to do a running back? Pick it away. Pick
Oh,
away.
God. You're killing me here, kid. I think we got to go Tariq Cohen. I think we're going to go Duke Johnson. Let's go Duke Johnson.
All right, let's do it.
I'm not in love with this pick, but as a flex guy, Houston doesn't have a lot of options. He's definitely the most talented guy on the roster.
Right. No doubt about it.
Shifting back to all positions, do you want to go Allen Robinson? I think this might be a great value pick for us. We could go Josh Gordon. We could go Sammy Watkins if you want to just own the Chiefs and bet on them just blowing people out. I'm not a Sammy Watkins
I'm
guy.
not good with Sammy Watkins. No, I want to pass on that. I think we should. Wow.
We could go Tariq Cohen and just stack our running back room, try to find value at receiver later. Or we could go Tyler Boyd, hope on him getting a lot of picks. We got 25 seconds. This one's you.
Oh, it's me.
Well, yeah, I took the last one. You put me under the gun. Now it's your turn. You got 20 seconds to decide. I like Allen Robinson here. I think this might be the value pick, either him or Goodwin. We're going to get a guy we're going to get a great number 3 receiver that can be a good flex for us if we need him.
All right, bring Robinson in.
Robinson it is. Look, I like this pick. Matt Nagy is going to throw the ball a lot in Chicago, even more than what you believe them to be with the great defense they have.
Right.
He's a Chiefs guy. The Chiefs want to throw the football. Allen Robinson's the best receiver still in that group. I have no problem taking Allen Robinson this late in the draft. I like him. I think he's one of those guys that's underrated. The question is going to be, now with more options and now with Tyreek Hill and David Montgomery coming in and Mike Davis, does he keep the same number of touches? I'm going to say the answer is probably yes.
Yeah. Allen Robinson is a great pick. He's obviously the number 1 receiver. They are trying to get Trubisky into more throwing downs. And the fact that Jordan Howard's gone, regardless of David Montgomery and Tariq Cohen, how well they do, I think it's huge that you pick up a number 1 receiver in a team that's trying to throw the ball more.
Absolutely. What do you think about Day Westbrook coming off the books right behind us?
They loved him in the preseason. He's
the
Nick
guy in
Foles.
Jacksonville, but he's been the guy in Jacksonville for 2 seasons
Nick
now.
Foles sure focused him.
I'm not a big fan of this.
He got a touchdown.
I'm not a big fan of okay. It's the preseason. I don't think he's a bad player. I don't think he's a bad pick, but I think you could have gone Chris Goodwin here, who's likely to see more action. You could have gone Josh Gordon here, who's likely to be the number 1 receiver or number 1 sideline option at the very least for the Patriots.
Darius Geis is off the board. I think this is a great pickup. I believed in this guy last year until he got hurt. The backfield is littered with talent in the Redskins backfield, but they're going to be running the ball. They're going to be running the ball a lot.
Also, let me just say, we're restarting the draft. Okay, I want a different team. We're restarting the draft right now. No, I'm kidding. I don't think we're doing too bad. Let's go to our options here. Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, starting running backs right now. We got Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper, Duke Johnson in the flex, and then Allen Robinson on the bench. We're likely to flex 3 receivers here. Do you think Duke Johnson or Aaron Jones gets to start for us?
Oh, it's Aaron Jones. It has to be, right?
You think so? We just missed out on Tariq Cohen, a guy we considered a couple picks ago.
Yeah, we're good.
We weren't expecting him to come back either, but do we go 3 running backs here, or do you think we flex Allen Robinson and just go 2 running backs? I think we almost have to at this point. We've got 3 great receivers, in my opinion, with Hill, Cooper, and Robinson. I think that's like a pretty good setup. We go with, obviously, Dalvin Cook.
I think we've got to see what Duke Johnson has in his tank for the Houston Texans.
Yeah.
If he takes that number 1 role and does well, he's huge.
Balling on a budget, grabbing Jarvis Landry this late. I like this move. Jarvis Landry is still a possession guy that likes to feast on a lot of touches. Even if we see that reduced with Odell Beckham coming in, Jarvis Landry is still a very good pick here because even if he goes from 10 targets a game to 8 or 7 or 6, he's still incredibly involved, and he's going to be more open with Odell Beckham, and the focus of defense is focusing over on him. I like this pick. I do.
Drew Brees is gone. Off the board, man.
Let's see where we're at on quarterback, because we still need one.
Still want to wait?
It's not time to panic. We can. Again, Russell Wilson, Jared Goff, Tom Brady, Jameis Winston, if you want to go from a pure, let's just throw for 3,000 yards because they're not going to be able to run. 3,000 yards every game, I should say. And then you got Phillip Rivers, Kirk Cousins, even a little bit deeper. You could go for someone like Jimmy G and roll the dice and then try to get a value guy behind him. There are still options at quarterback here. Do I wish Andrew Luck was on the board so we had one more guy? Absolutely I do. But I still think there's some picks here.
Would Andrew Luck still be on the board?
No, someone would have taken a long time ago, I think. He would have been like, maybe that was the Aaron Rodgers pick.
Yeah.
Maybe he was third behind Aaron Rodgers. But I think Andrew Luck would have been one of the top guys because despite that offensive line, they're still not the best running team in football. And I think when you look at Indianapolis, they win because they throw. I think Andrew Luck would have been gone a long time ago.
Yes, Bees, we still have no quarterback.
But we're not panicking. Again, we still got some guys. I think we started the run, though.
He's not panicking.
Dak Prescott off the books, round 6. Is Dak going to have that light-him-up year? We're hoping so. We got Amari Cooper.
I hope he does.
Yeah, as long as it's going to Cooper. Forget about the rest of your receivers. Jason Witten doesn't matter. Randall Cobb, what a bum, even though I said I like him. Dak Prescott needs to get the ball to Amari Cooper. I'm okay with him having a great year as long as it involves our guy catching the ball.
That's the only way they're going to win. Mm-hmm.
Or Zeke Elliott just comes in and dominates. That would help. But yes, we still have some questions at quarterback for ourselves, but there's still a lot of guys out there.
Justin says, Jake, you don't like the juice? Geis.
I like Geis. I do, but I think there's Adrian Peterson there. I think he's coming off an injury. He's injured again. I think you got Chris Thompson, who's likely to take some carries early, or some touches early in the year because he's going to be a receiver. The Redskins have done it without him. I think Geis is a fine pick, but he's a bit of a roll of the dice.
Jared Cook and then A.J. Green is off the board. I like the A.J. Green pick when he comes back.
I love the Jared Cook pick, too. In New Orleans, I think they've been looking for that number 2 guy who can back up Michael Thomas. Jared Cook, with what he did in Oakland, if we get another year like that, Drew Brees is going to be all over him. I think this is the first time in a long time he's had a reliable receiving-style tight end. He's had Ben Watson. He's had the big white guy from Stanford whose name I can't think of, but he's more of a blocking tight end. He played with Andrew Luck in college. Can't think what his name is. They haven't had a receiving tight end in a long time with Drew Brees. I think bringing in Jared Cook might set him up for one of his better years in the NFL. Jared Cook, that is.
Miles Sanders is off the board. That's even taken before Jordan Howard.
Interesting pick. That's all I can say. Interesting pick. If you know something that I don't.
Well, there's a lot of talk that he's going to take a lot of his snaps. Do I believe that? I don't know.
I just don't believe in you trading for Jordan Howard to not use him, right?
Right.
Even though it was a 5th or a 6th round pick, I think Philadelphia knew what they were probably getting in Jordan Howard here.
Right.
They did with Ajayi, though, right? They brought in Ajayi, and we saw Ajayi's touches kind of slip off. Philadelphia's running back group is one of the hardest ones to gauge.
Really is.
If you hit the jackpot and Miles Sanders becomes the starter, you're getting a great running back on one of the best offenses in the game. If you miss,
first defense
which
is off the board.
That could happen. Jacksonville's defense here.
Yes.
Interesting move. I think somebody's filling out their starting roster before they try to go deeper. Is Jacksonville the first defense in your book?
They're good.
They're very good, and I think they're likely to be better than we saw last year.
Right.
I mean, they were 4th in scoring. They generated turnovers, which you love to see in fantasy. They got sacks, right? They're Sacksonville. That's the nickname.
They might be better this year in sacks because of Josh Allen.
Interesting pick. I think you're still a little ahead of where I would take him, but I don't think this is a bad spot. Delaney Walker is gone. I'm disappointed about that. I was hoping we'd get one of those guys falling to us because we need a tight end, Drew. And things, if you haven't noticed, getting a little thin. Are we about to grab Jack Doyle or Greg Olson? Is it Eric Ebron?
We're going to have to, right?
Do we just wait it out? Do we just say we're going to have a bad tight end and he's going to get us 6 points, but the rest of our team's going to be stacked and we're not worried about it? Or do we wait too long? You see, you told me Travis Kelce earlier. I can tell. I can see the regret in your eyes.
I have a lot of regret. I have a lot of regret saying I would be on the same draft as you. Like, yeah, we can be on the same team.
We're trying to get everybody involved, Drew.
This will be great.
Yeah, I was thrilled about all the rest of the picks that you talked me into. So it goes both ways, buddy.
What picks did I talk you into?
David Johnson or Duke Johnson? Terrible pick. Absolutely horrible. What were we thinking? No, I'm kidding. Our team is actually looking pretty good.
No, he took Russell Wilson. Oh, man.
Now we're really getting skinny. We're really
Second defense off the board. Right? The Bears is off. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Because we can control this league. We're going to just pick and choose out of.
We're going to steal a couple of these guys.
Switch them out there.
Perfect.
They'll forget because they're all drunk.
This is supposed to be pick like 13 for me, where everyone slept on defenses, and I grab them a couple rounds before everybody else does. What are you guys doing picking defenses this early? You're stealing from me. You're stealing from me. I don't even know what to say. Russell Wilson, I love this pick. Like I said, Russell Wilson round 7 versus Patrick Mahomes round 2. Go Russell Wilson. Because your team is now so much better having spent that second round on a top-level receiver/running back. That's why I say pump the brakes on quarterback because you're going to get somebody, right? There's 12 great quarterbacks in the NFL, or at least 10. Just don't be the last guy taking the quarterback, and you're probably okay.
Oh, man.
What do you think about DJ Moore next? DJ Moore off the board.
Tom Brady off the board. It's our pick. Man, we got to go quarterback, tight end.
Lamar Jackson. Do it. No, I'm kidding.
We got to go quarterback, tight end, right? We got to.
So let's look at the quarterback board right now. I don't like Kyler Murray, even though you don't bet on rookies. You don't know what you're going to get, number one, and they tend to hit the rookie wall. Number two, I think when you look at the way rookies tend to do, when they get to week 12, 13, 14, they drop off right when you need them to perform going into what would be your fantasy playoffs. So we could go Cam Newton, go for the run-heavy thing, but with his injury, I'm saying pump the brakes. I think this is a Jared Goff spot. I really do. We could go Phillip Rivers, kind of roll on him not having Melvin Gordon and say that's a good pick, or we can go Jared Goff, Drew. It's your choice. I'm going to go Jared Goff. This will be mine. We'll go
All
you
right,
next.
we're taking Jared Goff.
We're going to go Jared Goff as our number one quarterback.
All right, and we're going to take...
You said you wanted a tight end?
I do want a tight end.
Ends. I like everyone's passing on Sammy Watkins. Wise move, guys. This is David Njoku, right? In that Cleveland offense. Freed up a little bit. Yeah, he might not be Travis Kelce, but I think this is one of those guys that if he gets you a couple points less than one of them, there's going to be no focus on David Njoku going into these playoffs or going into this season, right? It's all going to be Landry and Beckham.
Oh, I think it's the two guys around him. I think it's McDonald or Hooper, to be honest with you.
I think McDonald's still more of a blocker. I really want to fade him.
You got Antonio Brown gone.
Hooper is interesting. I get it, but still, he's more of a blocking tight end. He'll get some catches, but I think we got to go to Njoku here. We could go Trey Burton if you want to go with another Bear, but I think this is a Njoku spot. I think this is our steal here. We could go Olsen if we want to fade it. We got 8 seconds.
I don't care.
David Njoku.
Guys, I did not pick.
We need another one. But that's okay. I think at this point, when we're talking about getting the 8th, 9th, 10th tight end off the board, it's okay to take two guys almost in succession and see what happens. I like this Njoku pick because we got Jarvis Landry who's going to get a lot of attention. They got Odell Beckham. They're going to run a little bit more. He's going to be the forgotten man in this offense, and we saw him take big strides forward last year.
Right.
So this is more of a high ceiling pick. I'm not like David Njoku's going to kill it. We could have went Greg Olsen if we want like that standard. The tight end is going to give us
last year than
enough points. Yeah. I'm with you.
I'm not gonna lie with you.
But the offense is much better, right?
Right.
Especially after week 8 when we're talking about Tyreek Hill or Kareem Hunt being there.
Right.
They're not going to get Tyreek Hill. Spoiler alert, the Chiefs are going to trade for him. Trade him away, too. And then Trey Burton off the board. Did we miss our pick? Should this have been Trey Burton instead?
Did we take two Chicago players?
That's the interesting question. Do they throw enough? I think they're going to throw enough that there's going to be value at both of those spots. And then you got like Anthony Miller behind him. They have Riley Ridley as a rookie coming in. I think Chicago's going to spread the ball around a little bit more. But I still like that we have the number one option here. I do like the Trey Burton pick. I think this is a good tight end to have towards the mid to lower end of tight ends. This is a good like tight end 6, 7, 8 pick. I like that they passed on some of these other tight ends too.
I like Eckler. He's taken off the board. I like this pick. I think this is a good solid pick, especially if Melvin Gordon doesn't show up. This is their number one guy.
The only thing I will say about Eckler that kind of scares me, he doesn't do the goal line work. So you might go get 8 points because you just moved down the field with Austin Eckler, and then they go and put one of these guys you've never heard of into the game who's going to go steal your touchdown and get the 6. I think this is one of those sets that there's value here. Obviously, I'm not criticizing any running back coming off the board at this point, but I'm maybe a little bit lower on Austin Eckler than some other guys are.
I guess we are not playing with the kicker. You chose not to play with the kicker.
Yeah, we did choose to not play with the kicker.
Okay.
It's too random, right? I mean, just opportunities at kicker. Unless you're taking Justin Tucker because the Baltimore Ravens kick more field goals than anybody. I think kicker, it's just more week to week, and that, to me, not exactly fair. If your team's scoring touchdowns, your kicker's not really worth anything. You just need to get lucky a week. I don't want a game to swing 3, 4, 5 points because you got lucky and your team kicked a bunch of field goals.
Tevin Coleman and Austin Hooper are off the board.
Love the Tevin Coleman pick.
I like both these picks.
I
Now, Hooper is a solid pick at tight end. He's just shadowed by Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. To be honest, I think if
forgotten man, that's a great spot to be in if you're a tight end.
It is, absolutely. If you had him on any other offense that didn't have those receivers, you look at this guy as a top end receiver. Oh, as a tight end.
I'll admit, Drew, our team's looking pretty sexy.
You drafted all of them.
No, I didn't. You picked at least one. At least one guy.
And he'll be benched all season long.
No Duke Johnson for us. All right. Say something because I got a mouthful of food.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, dude. I mean, do we start stacking up on where do we feel weak at? Do we feel weak at running back, or do we feel weak at wide receiver? I mean,
I think we got 3 receivers.
this is how we have to fill up our bench.
Yeah.
Who's our sleepers?
I don't want to tell anybody.
Well, lie.
We'll lie. Go take Robbie Anderson, so we can't have him. I actually don't think that's that bad of a pick.
Yeah, I know.
I see your point too. Yeah. I think that's a good spot. I wonder if he'll last to us.
Probably won't.
Likely not, but there's still some value on this board, though.
Dude,
my boy Corey Davis.
I was just about to say that. He's
my
down
boy
there.
Corey Davis still there. Fade him.
He's squeaking at the bottom.
The Titans are going with a platoon option. Don't take a Titan receiver if you can help it, unless you're talking about rounds 11, 12, 13. And if you're going to take anyone, I'd say Adam Humphries. Even ahead of Corey Davis. I like Corey Davis as a player. I don't like that the Titans want to have 38 receivers who are viable options. Especially before they cut Tajay Sharp. If Tajay Sharp's there, you're talking about Taywan Taylor, Tajay Sharp, Corey Davis, A.J. Brown, Adam Humphries, and Delaney Walker all likely to catch passes for a team that doesn't throw that much.
Jameis Winston gone. Jordan Howard gone. Titans defense gone, and Cam Newton off the board.
The Titans defense will be reliable. They'll give you 8 to 7 to 6 points every week probably because they play such solid defense. The only thing I don't like about the Titans, they don't take the ball away. In fantasy, you want takeaways and you want sacks. Because those sacks give you a point, the takeaways usually give you 2.
So far, I like Neal's draft. I like exactly what he's going for. I think Jordan Howard is a great back to have sitting in your bench. I don't know. Go to Neal's team real quick because I think he's drafted really well so far. Just you can click. Yeah, that's to go. Look at this: Patrick Mahomes, Sony Michel, Marlon Mack, DeAndre Hopkins, Adam Thielen, Delaney Walker, Josh Gordon, and then Jordan Howard sitting down there in the bench.
He might be a little light at running back, right?
But I mean, I think you put Howard up and where Mack's at, and then where are you light?
You got 3 guys that are likely to share with multiple people. Sony Michel, you never know what the Patriots are going to do. Marlon Mack, they like Nyheim Hines and Wilkins, Jordan Wilkins. They have 3 guys there too, especially with Jacoby Brissett coming in. I still like Marlon Mack, but I think he'd be better if Andrew Luck was here. Also, Jordan Howard. Again, we don't know what Philly's going to do at running back.
Let's go ahead and hit another team. Let's talk about their team. I just picked one.
All right, let's go with Team Sean.
All right, he's got Ben Roethlisberger, Todd Gurley, Melvin Gordon, Juju Smith-Schuster, Stephon Diggs, Elvin Ingram, Cohen, and Bears defense.
This is a home run.
He set himself already up as a starter. He has yet to pick up any of his bench players yet. Is that a smart move? Because really, honestly, you looking at this, you might say it's a home run. I think it's a little bit of a question marks all across the board. Big Ben has let me down so many years as a quarterback. As a starter, I don't know if I can sit there and say he's a legitimate starter. I might have gone a different path than that. Melvin Gordon, we don't know if he's going to play. That's going to be an issue. Now you're looking at, 4th, 5th string running backs as far as fantasy goes. Maybe it's too early to sit there and grab on a defense.
Well, he got one of the best. He got Chicago, and guess what Chicago does? They generate turnovers, and they get sacks. I love this pick, actually. Even though I think he reached a little bit to get the defense to fill out the starting roster, getting Chicago as a defense, I think, is the safest bet in this year's fantasy. You're going to get somebody, or you're going to get a group of guys that are absolute killers, especially if Khalil Mack stays healthy. It doesn't matter who else is out there with him.
Go to For Luck, because he just picked up Emmanuel Sanders. I think this is a great pickup. Look at this.
That was the guy you were pointing to.
Yeah, he's got Aaron Rodgers, Zeke Elliott, Derrick Henry, Julian Edelman, Emmanuel Sanders, and then Jags defense, Carson Wentz, Prescott. He's got 3 quarterbacks and the Titans defense. He's already got a second defense before he's even grabbed his flex or tight end.
This could be trade bait. This could be one of those things that you're going to go take 3 guys and say, I'm going to go trade for the running back that I couldn't necessarily secure, especially if Zeke Elliott struggles from week 1. I'd like to see him go get another running back or 2. I think when you're talking about Derrick Henry and Ezekiel Elliott, who may not play week 1, as your 2 starting running backs, I think he needs to go out and grab 1 or 2 more running backs here in the next couple of rounds. I'm trying to help you out here, even though I don't want you to, because guess who else needs running backs? These 2 guys.
Not us.
Yeah,
Not us.
We might.
Let's go to Big Blue. Let's see what Big Blue's got going on. He's picking right around us. He's listening to us. He's picking our players that we wanted. Let's see what he's got here.
Tom Brady, James Conner, James White, Julio Jones, Sterling Shepard, Trey Burton, Kerryon Johnson, and Dede Westbrook. Drew, how do you feel about that team?
I think this is a solid team. I honestly think this is a solid team. I like all these players, I think, in different roles. You definitely see Westbrook going up there and taking Kerryon Johnson. I think you need to see a couple weeks of what the Lions are going to do in their backfield, even though I think he's for sure their number one. I think you throw a wide receiver in this flex at this point, but I like this draft so far.
I think Kerryon Johnson's your steal. I think you got a great value out of scooping a guy who's likely to be the number one option in Detroit. I'm not as wild about Sterling Shepard, but I said before, I think the Giants, their defense sucks. They're going to have to throw some this year. He's still a value there. Trey Burton, I like him. I like James White coming in, but again, sharing always scares me. You're never going to know whether it's the week that you need to play James White or the week you need to sit him.
Right.
That's what scares me about Patriot running backs. James Conner, if he stays healthy, great pick. That's a question, though, for me. Does he stay healthy for 16?
All right, off the board is Marvin Jones, Rams defense, Golden Tate, and finally Sammy Watkins.
Finally, Sammy Watkins. What a guy. I mean,
what a guy.
Everyone thinks he's like
this
way,
is a run
way
on
ahead.
wide receivers. We still got a couple picks before we go. Do we want to sit there and jump on to the next team? Let's see what Lynch Jimmy G 49ers for life. Let's see what
Lynch Jimmy G. All right, can we even say that on the internet?
He said it. Go ahead.
Drew Brees, Leonard Fournette, Mark Ingram as the first three. I love the Drew Brees pick. We saw kind of a decline towards the back half of the season. I want to see you go get another guy like Jameis Winston, who, if you get to the playoffs and Drew Brees is taking that step back and they're running a little bit more and counting on the defense, that you have the guy who can fill in for Drew Brees.
Yeah, but they followed up with Michael Thomas. I love the quarterback wide
the
receiver.
The 1-2
combo.
punch is always great. When you win, when you lose, it can be a struggle. It's
Right.
always a big risk going 1-2, especially if there's a week where a team has a great corner that can frustrate what the Saints want to do with Thomas. Then again, when you talk about his number of receptions, that's a great setup. That's an absolutely great setup. Leonard Fournette, I like. I think they're going to run more and try to take the pressure off of Nick Foles coming into the offense. Mark Ingram is likely to be the starter for Baltimore, but again, rotational guy. Like the Antonio Brown pick, but it's one of those guys that might have gone a little too early. I'm not an O.J. Howard guy. I think you got to fade O.J. Howard because I think Cameron Brate's going to do a lot of the receiving work from tight end there.
Hey,
I do like Phillip Lindsay.
Your boy Robbie Anderson's off the board, man. You can't get him.
And my boy Geronimo Allison, my sleeper pick, like every year is off the board because Aaron Rodgers loves his receivers. This is a great pick. I love the Geronimo Allison thing. We're up next, so we gotta stay focused here. One more quick pick here from the Lynch Jimmy G team. I do like Tevin Coleman coming off for the 49ers. They paid him some money. I think they paid Jerick McKinnon a couple of years ago.
Right.
We're going to be talking about the guy that's going to do the power work for the 49ers. Look for him to score the touchdowns on the goal line for him.
Rashad Penny's off the board. It's our turn to pick.
I think we got to look at some running backs here, right?
Oh, man. What are we? Let's do it. Oh, man.
How do you feel about Royce Freeman or Latavius Murray? We got LaShawn McCoy. We got Darrell
no
Henderson.
Peyton Barber?
Ronald Jones. Excuse me. I do like Kalen Ballage a little bit for the Dolphins, but I don't know how much I trust the Dolphins to do anything this year. Things are getting, whatever we're talking about, it's getting thin here at running back.
Maybe Carlos Hyde is, or Kareem Hunt. Maybe we pick up Kareem Hunt.
I think that's a great pick.
Let's do it. I think we should take
Kareem Hunt. We are stealing on the back end of Cleveland season. We're going to get to the playoffs, have Kareem Hunt coming back, and we're going to be flexing on everybody. I like that. Good pick. Good move, Drew. I'm glad we caught that.
Yeah, me too.
Let's go to the top here. Christian Kirk. Do you believe in him?
It's almost like we know what we're doing.
Not Corey Davis. Not Cortland Sutton. Come on, give me something. Show me a name that I like to see. Was it Valdez Scantling that got hurt? Or was it the other one? They have like a couple. I can't remember which Green Bay receiver it was that was hurt. What about Tyrell Williams? I think that might be a good pick. I like Anthony Miller too, but we already have one Chicago receiver. I don't want to bet on both of them.
Why don't we do what our boy B says and we take Mitch Trubisky as our backup?
Quarterback, huh?
Backup quarterback.
Well, we got 15 seconds to figure it out here. Do we go Mitch Trubisky here? It's your pick, Drew. It's your world. I'm just living in it.
Oh, man.
I think this is a Royce Freeman pick.
Dude. Okay, sure.
That was on the clock. We didn't have the time to make a right decision.
That was tough.
That was very tough.
Is that the right pick?
No.
I don't feel like that was the right pick.
I think we could have gone Latavius Murray first.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that one either, but that felt rough.
Well, I like Latavius Murray because they don't want Alvin Kamara being hurt, so they're going to share. If you're watching this, who's going to be the first guy to go get him? They're going to share the rock. He's going to get some carries, maybe not quite as many as Ingram.
Says St. Brown was the guy that got hurt.
Was it St. Brown? That's what I thought. Yeah. So
that was rough.
Didn't see it. That was tough. We probably even could have gone Kiki Qt instead for Houston. They're not going to be able to run through the tackles a ton.
Let's pick a different team and let's go over their team.
All right, let's go Nathan's team here. I'm gonna let you read them off here.
All right.
Even though you just ate that chip.
Yeah, no problem. Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Odell Beckham Jr., Robert Woods, Jared Cook, Mike Williams, the Bills defense, and Cam Newton as his backup quarterback.
I love those running backs. I love the running backs.
The running backs look great.
For sure. I absolutely think he did great getting the running backs. Odell is kind of a hit or miss pick. I like the Robert Woods scoop up. Baker Mayfield, are they going to throw enough to make him worth it in fantasy? Obviously, everyone expects him to have a good year, but he's got Nick Chubb. He's got a good offensive line. He's got Kareem Hunt coming back, who we just stole.
Trubisky, Justin. Trubisky, for sure.
Good pick there. Mitch Trubisky coming off the board. What do you think about Jamison Crowder?
I think that's the guy we should have took instead of Royce Freeman.
Jamison Crowder?
Yeah. I think we panicked.
Oh, we definitely panicked. We ran out of time. And I was just like, Royce might get some carries. They got Munchak. Phillip Lindsay might get hurt.
That's what we're hoping for.
Munchak might fix that offensive line. They might decide they want to play a little more ball possession. Who knows?
All right. Let's check out Martin's team. Team Martin, top.
Let's see how Austin's doing here.
All right. Phillip Rivers, Saquon Barkley, Dante Freeman, Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, George Kittle. I think that's the Miles Sanders, Tyler Boyd, and Larry Fitzgerald. Dude, this team seems to be a stout team, especially when bringing in Kittle like that at tight end. I like this team.
Another 1-2 punch at running back that I love. Much more than our 1-2 punch at running back. I think he did a great job scooping up Devontae Freeman, who's going to be the focus in Atlanta, right?
You picked him. I thought that's what you wanted.
Yeah, that is what I wanted. I still think Austin outdrafted us at running back, at least. I like our receivers, but at running back,
when you start at Saquon Barkley, how bad can it go?
Yeah, it was Saquon and somebody else, and you're good, right?
Right.
I'm with you there. As for Tyler Lockett, again, he caught a bunch of touchdowns last year with some of the injuries coming in for these receivers and Doug Baldwin gone. We might see the same kind of repeat performance, right? If you're getting a lot of touchdowns out of that, we're talking about a good team. Cooper Kupp, I love. George Kittle, I love that pick, too. He did a good job of securing his tight end and getting one of the big three in the NFL this year, I think.
Yeah. I think it's a stout team. I really do.
Tyler Boyd will be an interesting pick. Can he repeat what he did last year? I'm not 100% sure on it, but I will say this. With what he did last year, it's a safe gamble, especially for a guy coming off your bench. Larry Fitzgerald, what's he got left in the tank? We've seen him do a lot, even with Rosen last year. But again, I'm saying pump the brakes. I think Kyler Murray now has more options to throw to. I think Larry Fitzgerald might start to drop off a little bit, but that's okay. I mean, we're talking about a bench receiver here.
Have we talked about Sharif's team yet?
Sharif is named, was he Ballers on a Budget?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Deshaun Watson, the obvious pick for the Houston fan, right?
Right. David Johnson.
David Johnson. How do you feel about David Johnson before we move on?
I mean, he could be a steal of the draft. I mean, they're trying to work on that offensive line, that quotation's trying to work on it. Maybe he wasn't completely healthy last year. This guy used to be the first pick in everyone's draft 3 years ago. Maybe he's a steal.
He's another one of those guys that unless he does a lot of running like he did last year, and he did a lot of running because he had to, but if they protect him a little bit more, we might see those rushing numbers dry up a little bit. I think they're throwing a lot more now. Even though we took Duke Johnson, who is a great receiving back, they're going to be throwing a lot more with Lamar Miller out and with them not having another option at running back. Unless they trade for somebody, expect to see Deshaun Watson do a lot of throwing. That might not always be a good thing. One-dimensional isn't always a good thing, but this is still a good pick.
Well, he finishes up his running back core with Nick Chubb and Damian Williams. I mean, that's a legitimate running back group. I mean, it really is.
I like Damian Williams, but again, we've seen him kind of succeed because the Chiefs succeed. How much do you think Carlos Hyde steals from him? If he's not the goal line back, are we going to see Carlos Hyde steal all the touchdowns?
I mean, he's going to be in there because he gets tired.
You think so?
Dude,
it's all Damian Williams for you?
It's not even about Damian Williams. Whatever number one running back is in the Kansas City Chiefs offense, you draft that guy.
But my point is,
and that's who
what is number one? Is number one 60% of the touches? Is it
well, if you look at Kareem Hunt, it was probably like 80.
But yeah, when you don't have that talent, do you share more?
Well, we don't know. We don't know what Kareem Hunt is yet until he goes and plays for the Browns. And
who said that last year? And you were like, no, dude, he's great. He's a top 5 running back in the league. Who said that?
Me.
No. Not quite. This guy. That's okay, though. Look, at the very least, Drew, I do like this pick. I like having Chiefs.
Take him.
I like having any Chief offensive player. If you're talking about a skill position, maybe not Sammy Watkins, pretty much everybody else I like having. Okay? So I don't think that's a bad pick with scooping up Damian Williams. The Nick Chubb one kind of worries me, though. Because Nick Chubb, I wonder how much usage he's going to get when Kareem Hunt comes back. And you're talking about Kareem Hunt probably being the better receiver. Even though he's probably not quite as good of like the between the downs or between the tackles kind of running back, he's more dynamic. He's going to score more long 60, 70, 80-yard touchdowns than Nick Chubb will have the opportunity to score.
Right.
I wonder if his work gets stolen from it, and we're hoping he does because we've got Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
When he comes back after week 8.
Man, I don't know. I do like his quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson, to come off the bench.
Stacked at quarterback. He went Chiefs here too, maybe favoring you a little bit, going Sammy Watkins here. Does Sammy have the rebound year? And every year I say Sammy's going to have a rebound year, and he never does. So.
Well, you put him in at the right week, and that's what fantasy is about, is picking out of the players that you have who's going to go off this week. Sammy Watkins can give you 3 to 4 solid, good, probably top-end receiver numbers.
If this was poker, I'd say we have Sharif dominated, though, right? We have Kareem Hunt, likely to be the starter, in our opinion, at least in Cleveland, to his Nick Chubb. And then we have Tyreek Hill, who's likely to be the over guy versus Sammy Watkins.
Right.
He's gone a similar route that we have. It's just I think we've done a better job of securing some of the guys that are likely to get more of the touches for these offenses. Yes, we have to wait 8 weeks for Kareem Hunt to get it. But, again, the most important part of the fantasy season is the back half. Right. When we're going into the playoffs. So I like where we're at. I think Sharif has some questions here. I do like the Alshon Jeffrey pick. The only thing I will say is he suffered a little bit with Carson Wentz throwing, because Carson Wentz likes throwing to Ertz instead. Right. It was really with Foles that he succeeded. I don't think he's doing bad, though. I'm not trying to be too critical of his team.
Let me catch up on some of these draft picks. Anthony Miller, Deion Lewis, Latavius Murray, Vikings defense. Now you got to scroll back up so I can go back to the other ones. Kevin Ballage. No, down.
You said up.
Well, whatever I meant. Deshaun Jackson, Kirk Cousins, Vance McDonald, Sam Darnold, Kyler Murray to run on quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm. Because everyone's looking around and saying, what if my guy's not that good? Kind of like us, where we're sitting around here having, I don't even know who we have.
Goff.
Jared Goff. What happens if Jared Goff goes on a bye or gets hurt? I mean, we are betting on the Rams. That's a safe bet. Sean McVay's been one of the best offensive minds here. But is Jared Goff that talented? I think we might need to secure a quarterback when it's our turn again. Let's take a look and see who's left. Is there any one of those guys that really kind of excites you?
Maybe. I mean, well, you
We're
know.
getting thin. People pretty much have 2 and we have 1.
Well, there's the
Marcus? Is that what you're trying to... Yeah, look out for Marcus. Well, we might as well take Ryan Tannehill at this point.
Is it Garoppolo?
He might be the sexy pick, right? He's the home run that if we hit, we're geniuses, and if we miss, we're like, it doesn't matter because we're this deep in the draft.
I mean,
I don't think it's
healthy. He plays a high-powered offense system.
Absolutely. Could it be Derek Carr? Because if there's one thing Oakland's going to be good at, it's offense this year, right? They drafted a first-round running back. They brought in Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams. They've got guys now that hopefully should help Derek Carr a little bit. Do we go in that direction? Do we go for another running back? Do we go for another receiver?
Ravens defense is off the board. Christian Kirk is off the board.
That is one thing we don't have yet is defense. Do we bet on one of these defenses left, or we just roll the dice and say it'll be okay?
Dude, we're taking Kansas City's defense.
Perfect. What could go wrong?
Nothing.
They get turnovers. They get sacks.
They did.
That can help in fantasy. That's all you care about. It doesn't matter if you drop 40 points on them, as long as they're getting turnovers and sacks.
By the way, is the key word.
Yeah.
No, I think
we're coming up. We're going to have to figure it out here quick.
I think we look at a second quarterback, and I think we look at another wide receiver.
Let's see where we're at for wide receiver. Right now, things are looking a little thin, but Kiki Kute survived. One of those guys that we were saying, hey, maybe he turns into something. I don't know.
James Washington down there.
He's another one of those guys. Terrell Williams still hanging around. A guy we considered. Adam Humphries, Titans receiver. If anything, Mariota has liked Adam Humphries and Delaney Walker in the preseason. They're both the inside receivers. We could go way off the board and go DK Metcalf here, but we got to figure it out. We're on the clock.
We gotta go. Let's go quarterback. We talked about it first.
Let's look at the quarterbacks. Do you want to roll the dice on Jimmy Garoppolo, or do you want to play it safe and go Matt Stafford?
I'm actually more thinking Derek Carr or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Derek Carr. So Stafford's off your board?
I think Stafford's
off
the board.
I'll let you pick this one. I'll pick the next pick. Take your time, though, because I want to think about what I got to do.
I mean, they're gonna be running they're gonna throw the ball.
Do you want to play it? It's still safe
don't-
and say Derek Carr's still the safe pick here, even though he's had injuries. Jimmy G's played 4 games a year.
Right.
So if we go Jimmy G, we're betting on the ceiling.
I think we take Derek Carr. That's what I'm going with.
We
Derek
can
Carr.
go Jimmy G.
No, Derek Carr.
Derek Carr it is. All right. I don't think it's a terrible backup. I think they're going to be much better than they were last year on offense.
Right.
I think Derek Carr might eventually be the breakout candidate to be your number 2 quarterback.
And if you want to pick
Now I want to look at quarterbacks. We have our choice for the Indiana guys. Do we go Eric Ebron,
tight
more the
end?
receiver? Yeah, that's one. We also have Kyle Rudolph. I think this is a sexy pick. I know they drafted the kid out of Alabama, whose name I can't think of. That's
what about
200
T.J.
pounds.
Hawkinson?
That is a roll of the dice. How much do we bet on a rookie tight end? But
Well, we
they're
already
going to be
have a
more
tight end.
conservative. We've never seen Matt Stafford throw to tight ends, and this is the only thing I don't like about Hawkinson. He's had Pettigrew, a first rounder. He's had Eric Ebron, a first
I
rounder.
get it's a preseason, but they have heavily targeted him during preseason. Something to think about.
We also have Noah Fant, same kind of scenario, that he's likely to be the starter. We get 12 seconds here, Drew. It's one of those interesting picks. We have to find the value at tight end. Let's go Hawkinson. Let's go with the first guy. Let's play really, really aggressive here. I don't necessarily know that this is the right pick, but this late in the draft, I think it's okay. Because if he turns into a starting tight end...
This could be a diamond in the rough.
Exactly. It will need it to be. I still like the Indiana boys. I think I'm betting on Ebron before I bet on Doyle, but I like both of them. And I like Kyle Rudolph. I think that almost might have been the direction we should have gone, because just like our other tight end, this might be the forgotten man.
Steven likes the Derek Carr pick.
Yeah, I do too. But Steven is also a Raiders fan. Let's remember where we're coming from here.
What is that supposed to mean?
That's supposed to mean he's gonna like any Raiders offensive person we pick. I'm with you. I like Derek Carr here. I think Jimmy G probably has the little bit higher of a ceiling with Matt Shanahan,
If he's healthy.
Kyle Shanahan. Calling the offense there. If he's healthy and you get a full 16 out of Jimmy G, maybe you get a little bit more production. We went the safer route. We went with the guy who's got the rebuild offense that they've spent on to try to protect him. They've spent on to try to bring in weapons. At the very least, as far as second quarterbacks go, you can do worse than Derek Carr.
All right, let's hit some of these other teams, man. Let's do big chest, small feet, whatever he said it was.
Mr. Big Chest Feet. Mr. Got to scrape the bottom of my foot off and circumcise it. Ugh. Ugh.
Jameis Winston, Le'Veon Bell, Josh Jacobs, Mike
We
Evans,
thought we missed on
T.Y.
quarterback.
Hilton, T.Y.
I'm kidding.
Hilton, Hunter Henry, Kenyon Drake, Rams defense, Chris Godwin, Greg Olsen, and Peyton Barber sitting there at his last little pick. And I mean, is this? Why did it say we had no sound for a second there?
Who is they?
And us and your OBS. Why?
Because it's not on the
see,
right on the top.
Okay, see what's going on now.
You with us?
Yeah, I'm with
good?
you. It paranoid me. I was like, oh, they're not hearing us no more.
They haven't been listening to us for a full hour. We've just been talking and it's been dead silent.
They've muted it all. They're like, shut up.
Yeah, exactly. As for this team, let's talk about it. Le'Veon Bell and Josh Jacobs. How do you feel about the running back situation
With
for
Carry
Mr. Big Chest?
With Carry Drake hitting there with Barber in the back, it's a little weak. But I do believe Le'Veon Bell, it will be one of the best running backs out of the fantasy draft this year. We got in a huge discussion
He was one of
about
my hate guys.
We got a huge
I'm not as big
discussion
on him.
about it. I know.
And he was, even to me, a first-round pick. But this early, I think he was like the third or fourth pick off the board for us. To me, that's a bit of a question mark. I'm not a Le'Veon Bell believer for that high in the draft because I don't think the Jets' offense is going to succeed. I think teams are going to focus on him, and we're going to see him get taken away. We've only seen Le'Veon Bell play with an amazing offense.
Bees and Neil want us to go back to Neil's team. They're saying his team is looking good. Neil's the goat.
Let's check on Neil's team here. Patrick Mahomes, again, great quarterback pick. The Michelle and Mack thing worry me because Neil took Sony Michel from the Patriots and Marlon Mack. You're getting two running backs who share the ball a lot. You're getting guys who are favorites there, especially Marlon Mack. I think he's likely to be the number one guy, but number one might mean 35% of the touches for Indianapolis because they have Nyheim Hines and they also have Jordan Wilkins, who are both bigger backs than Mack and might steal touchdowns. That's the only thing I don't like about Marlon Mack. If this is Andrew Luck, who's going to check down to his running back all the time, great pick here. With it being Jacoby Brissett, a little bit more risk involved.
This is what I'm going to say about his draft, and you know, you can look at it as you want, but you got a lot of bye weeks in 10, you got a lot of bye weeks in 12. Both your quarterbacks are 12 bye weeks. Your running backs, your defense, your flex, two of your running backs are week 10. You're going to be dropping a lot of these players to be putting in other players. As much as your team looks stout right now, your bye weeks are what's really scaring me about this team. But Neil, I have to admit, name-wise alone, your defense looks really stout.
Also, what are you talking about, Patriots? What?
What?
You said name-wise alone, your defense looks really stout.
No,
What are you
your
talking
team looks really
about? You said
stout.
defense. That's not true. Defense, Patriots.
No, I
roll
said
the
team.
dice.
Well, I meant to say team.
All right. Well, let me go into this. I like the Delaney Walker pick. I think he's stacked at wide receiver. When you talk about DeAndre Hopkins,
You like
and
a tight
Adam
end
Thielen,
pick?
I do like it.
From the
If
Titans?
Mariota is the starter, and even if he's not, I think we're going to still see Ryan Tannehill make use of Delaney Walker. But if Mariota is the guy, and let's say he survives 16 weeks in this contract year, which is likely to happen, or one of those, this is if it's going to happen, it's this year, right?
Right.
Delaney Walker's the guy to have when Marcus Mariota's out in the field. I love that pick, and I love that aspect of it. As for his receivers, Josh Gordon, Adam Thielen, DeAndre Hopkins, he has some great pass catchers to go with some questions at running back. You just need two of these running backs to hit. Jordan Howard, even though I like him, he still might not be the starter because we don't know what the hell Philly's doing, right? Nobody knows what Philly's doing. Philly doesn't know what Philly's doing. Don't tell me that you got the inside track on Philadelphia. At this point, you're rolling the dice and saying it's a great offense. Hopefully this guy pans out. I love Jordan Howard, though. I think he's a great player and likely to win that spot, so I like him. As for Sony Michel and Marlon Mack, it's going to be tough saying which week does Sony Michel get the touches. Just like James White, he's one of those guys that you might get 8 great weeks out of him, and you might get 8 of them that aren't so great for fantasy from a fantasy perspective because the Patriots rotate guys, they keep guys fresh. Rex Burkhead might come in and score 3 or 4 touchdowns, and your guy gets left out in the cold that week. That's my worry about Sony Michel.
And he just took Old Man River, Jason Witten as his tight end to cover when Delaney Walker goes on a bye.
Not the worst pick in the world. Dallas is short on receiving options, right? They've got Amari Cooper, who we have, but they also have Randall Cobb, who's been a big-time question mark and lost Cole Beasley. There's a good chance Jason Witten plays a significant role in this offense. The question is, how much does this 37-year-old tight end have left in the tank?
Right. And Bees is making fun of our team. He says, your team is not bad either. Laugh out loud.
Our team's not too bad? Well, it's not bad. I think we've done okay. We have a question in Aaron Jones.
I think he's laughing at us.
Oh, he's laughing at us? Well, I like the Tyreek Hill, Amari Cooper setup. I like Duke Johnson coming in. I like David Njoku at tight end. I think we're doing all right there. I like Allen Robinson and Kareem Hunt on the bench, even though Kareem Hunt's going to have to ride the pine for a while.
Right.
I think we're doing okay. I'm not going to say it's my favorite draft so far, but I think we're doing all right. Should we take Michael Gallup and just say we'll dominate Dallas's receiving core? No, we're not going to do that. I'm kidding. All right, we're coming up, though, Drew. We've got a couple picks here in between us. What do you think here? We need a defense. We don't have a defense yet. We're the last team to go. We faded them. We're going to have to find some value here at defense. Is there a team that you have your eye on? No. We struck out.
Yeah.
So what do? You take 2 of them.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I don't know if I want to go necessarily back-to-back, but I think we definitely have been the team sitting back on defense. Do we just fade it and say we're going to last to the end of the draft and it doesn't matter?
I'm not taking the Texans. I refuse to take Texans.
I'm with you. I don't think the Texans are going to be able to generate any turnovers. I think Philly might be the better set. They're going to get some sacks with that defensive line. I like the Steelers, the way they've looked in the preseason. This might be the value pick at defense here.
That secondary is kind of weak.
It is, but they've got a great front 7, and sometimes I can make up for it. If they get some turnovers, we're talking about this being a good team. TJ Watt had 13 sacks last year. If we generate some sacks, we get some turnovers, it doesn't matter if we're giving up points. Maybe that's what we bet on. Can we just have the Bears? Can we get the Bears back?
Well, I mean, we can do whatever we want.
What about Carolina here? Is that the pick?
I'll let you choose this one. I'll let you pick it.
You let me pick. Take the best of the bad set, huh? I think I'm going to go Steelers, and then maybe we go back-to-back and take the Eagles and just ride 2. We just want to go 1?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm under the gun, and I got to pick between the Eagles and the Steelers, huh?
Yeah, because I'm taking a wide receiver with the next pick.
Okay. I don't necessarily hate where we are. I don't necessarily hate either one of those defenses.
All right.
It's not terrible. The Steelers are gone, too. So I guess that makes my decision pretty easy here. I think we got to go Eagles, Drew.
Yeah, I'm good
We'll go with the Eagles. We'll bet on the sacks.
Get me on the wide receiver.
Let's roll over to wide receiver and see if we can make our team a little bit deeper. What about Dante Pettis? Especially if we get Jimmy G healthy. We're talking about somebody good. Valdez Scantling is one of those guys in Green Bay that maybe he has a big year, but if Geronimo Allison's back, I think he's the 3rd or 4th guy.
Right.
So I'm not sure about that. What about Tyrell Williams? He's that sexy pick. We've been hanging back in Oakland. We already have Derek Carr. We can go the 1-2 punch.
He's been trying to be right next to Derek Carr's side during
We also have
preseason.
Devin Funchess,
if it was Andrew Luck, he'd been gone a long time ago.
What about DK Metcalf? Do we roll on Russell Wilson? I know he's hurt right now.
I mean, he's the second option, right?
He is. We could go super aggressive here. There's your boy Chris Conley for Jacksonville.
No.
Can Chris Conley take over the game?
No.
Okay. So what's your pick? You put me under the gun for the defense. It's your turn. We got 8 seconds. No pressure.
Williams. We're doing Williams.
Tyrell Williams?
Yep. We're doing
Okay.
it.
All right. Well, he could be a good pairing with Derek Carr, and he might be the guy that nobody's focusing on because they've got Antonio Brown, right?
And that's where Juju made his money, right?
Number 2 receiver in what is this, round 14? I think that's okay. Again, when you talk about what we have and what we've done, we're looking pretty deep. We've taken a couple risks here. Guys like Kareem Hunt, guys like T.J. Hawkinson, we've taken a couple risks on
Royce Freeman.
guys that might, yeah, exactly, on guys that might not be around. But I think with Mike Munchak coming into Denver, we're going to be talking about the running game being a little more of an emphasis. Vic Fangio, great defensive mind who's going to want to run the ball and play clock control with the defense that he's got. Maybe Royce Freeman gets a little more touches this year instead of the explosive Philip Lindsay.
Man, we got one more pick left.
We got, one more pick. At least we're at the top of the round, right?
No, we're not. We're the bottom. We're the last pick.
Oh, never mind then. Yeah, we got to wait all the way to the bottom of round 15. What do you think? How have we done so far?
We won't be last in the league.
Well, that's good. That's always nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's still solid, and I mean this, solid receivers or solid team. Gosh dang it, solid fantasy receivers and still team players on the board right now that are literally. Some of these guys can be drafted and be starters at some point in time. I mean,
one guy I'd say look out for, Jalen Richard. Likely to do a lot of the receiving work for Oakland. Again, even though Josh Jacobs can catch, I like that as a pick.
Bernard.
Do you think Gio Bernard gets a lot of touches? We kind of see him take that back seat to Mixon.
If Mixon gets hurt.
It's a good shackle, especially if you have Joe Mixon.
Right.
That'd be a good. Obviously, he's the second running back there in Cincinnati. I think that would be a good pickup if you have Joe Mixon. If you don't, you're really rolling the dice here. I think Gio Bernard's probably the first guy you cut, right?
Yeah. Justin says, "How's Graham's Packers looking?" Let's go to the Packers.
Let's look at the Packers team real quick.
There it is.
I have no idea. I don't
right
see
here.
It. Okay, there we go. Well, let's see. Mitch Trubisky at quarterback. Again, you've got some questions. I don't. You have Lamar Jackson. You're betting on the running game, right?
Right.
I'm not in love with that quarterback set, but Mitch Trubisky in that offense that we talked about, Drew, is likely to throw the ball a little bit more. We need to see the step forward, but I would love Trubisky if he's the number 2 guy on your team, and you have another guy that's either like a Matt Ryan that could likely break out.
Trubisky cannot talk. Brissett is
Jacoby
off.
Brissett is gone.
Jacoby Brissett is off. Off the board. I was just telling you because he came. Kansas City running backs are gone. I mean, I'm telling you, there's some legitimate players still being off this board. I mean, these guys are going to be stout at some point in time.
We're going to have to hustle through this Packers setup because we're going to be up on the board here real quick. I want to talk about Chris Carson and Darius Geis. I love the Chris Carson pick. I'm not as high on the Darius Geis because there's so many options there. Even though Chris Carson has options, he was definitely the best running back of the group. Mike Davis is gone now.
But he did
Rashad Penny didn't
take
really
Chris
step
Thompson,
up.
so he has another one of those options.
He's got the handcuff too, so you can bet on one of those guys. Chris Thompson will probably give you 6 to 8 really good weeks, and then he'll get hurt, and you'll probably wind up either cutting him or putting him on IR or something. As for the rest of this team, I like Devontae Adams. I think he's likely to see a lot of work for the Packers this year. Brandon Cooks is good too. You can never go wrong with a Rams receiver, right?
That's why we got Goff.
Exactly. Hopefully we're going to get the best of those worlds where he spreads the ball out so much, and we're the winners because they're throwing the ball almost all the time anyway. Kenny Galladay's not a bad pick. The Steelers' defense was great right before we did, so you're the bastard who stole him from us. At least you made our pick easy, and we went Eagles there. As for the rest of this team, Travis Kelce, you get the best tight end off the board. So you've got one of those guys. You've got a guy that you can lean on who's going to outperform a lot of tight ends at that position. As for your receivers, I think you've got 2 good ones. Kenny Galladay is going to be interesting. You're going to need one of your bench guys, I think, to probably. You need one of those 3 guys to succeed.
He's got a solid bench. I mean, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Dante Moncrief. I mean, and he can still pick up another receiver right here in this last pick.
The one thing I will say is it's a bit of a roll. You've got a lot of dice tosses, right? If you hit a couple guys hit on these guys, I'm going to say you did a great job.
You got Devontae Adams and Brandon Cooks and Galladay in a sense too, because he's a legitimate number 2.
He's not a bad pick, but
Or is he
the
number
Lions,
one?
The Lions worry me. I don't know.
I mean,
I think Marvin Jones is still, number one.
I think Marvin Jones is number one.
And they're going to throw a little bit, but Patricia said they want to run a little bit more. I think you need one of your bench receivers to really step up and show off and say, take that step forward to where he's the number one option in his group. If you get that, your team is looking really, really good.
Sharif is telling you to take Mariota.
That's not going to happen. I can already tell you right now, that's not going to happen. We have 2 quarterbacks, right? We're good on quarterback. I think we might go defense here.
Jalen Richard and Tony Ballard are off. Pollard is off the board.
I think we go defense here, Drew, actually. Not to spoil anything, but maybe we take one of these defenses and stack with the Eagles and play matchups.
Kansas City.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Is there anyone else you like on this board, defense-wise? Is there anyone else that you like in the NFL that we should steal? I mean,
I think I should have my own team. Kansas City.
Sure. All right. We'll take Kansas City's defense.
All
we'll
right.
Just lose. How about that?
On the second defense we took, we lose because the second defense, the very last.
Because the Eagles are everyone's gonna die, and then we're playing Kansas City's defense every week, and
because
there's
not such thing as a waiver wire.
Nobody gives up points like the Kansas City defense, so we're gonna be stuck with that because they're Drew's guys, and we're gonna lose because of it. Thank you, Drew. You ruined the entire draft with a round 15 pick. As for the rest of these guys, I like Jalen Richard this deep. Mr. Big Chest making more moves. I like the Cowboys defense. How do we let them slide passes? Because they don't generate turnovers. That's how. But hopefully they get the sacks that make it worth it for Neal. Valdez Scandling, not a bad pick either. Again, if he comes back healthy, Green Bay receivers, they're going to be throwing some, even though we're hoping Aaron Jones is getting worked. Eric Ebron surviving this late. Is that something we should have probably reached on as a second tight end?
No.
You don't think so? Well, we have Njoku and we have TJ Hawkinson, so we're good on tight end.
We're good.
Yeah, I think we go defense here. Unless you wanted to go with a running back and we'll just wait and scoop somebody up. There's 1 or 2 names in this list that might be good.
Adrian Peterson.
Well, the auto pick is next, so I'm going to let this go here. Gio Bernard is gone. Eric Ebron is gone here. Tony Pollard is gone from Dallas, betting on Zeke not playing. I like that in the 15th
Jared
round.
McKinnon.
That was absolutely great. Jared McKinnon's one of the guys I'm watching. I'm also watching Mike Davis. Maybe Montgomery doesn't win that starting job. And we see Mike Davis get a lot of power runs.
It's a possibility.
I think I like Jerick McKinnon better, but we've got options. Do we go defense number 2 and just bet on it, or do we just wait?
Only if we're taking Kansas City.
I think we wait it out. I would go Redskins first. That was the one I was watching. I think the Redskins might be one of those defenses that can absolutely shut some people down.
I'm cool with the Redskins defense, man. I'm messing with you.
I think we go Jerick McKinnon as long as this auto pick does not take it from us. They took Adam Humphries. Nice pick this late. Again, I think Mariota leans on him, and if he gets
Kenny
the starting
Stills.
spot.
We have Adam Humphries.
Do we take Adam Humphries? Again, Mariota has thrown to him, and he's thrown to Delaney Walker, and everyone else has been ineffective.
No,
Titans paid him $10 million.
Yeah, let's take your Titans player over
like
Kansas City's defense, because that sounds like a better.
Why would you take
pick.
a receiver over a defense in fantasy? What's the difference, right?
They
all score the same points.
You were over here. We should probably take a second defense.
I was, yeah. But now I'm kind of fading it a little bit. I'm saying let's just roll. Jerick McKinnon, Adam Humphries. I think they're the best 2 names left on this board.
You do whatever you'd like, sir.
Let's go Jerick McKinnon because I am in love with running backs. So if you did get on the waiver wire, look out for Adam Humphries. Again, I think he might be one of the last best guys in this group. We're going to take Jerick McKinnon because they paid him a lot of money to not use him.
Yeah.
Right? I think Jerick McKinnon might be used because John Lynch is like, look, you got to save my job. I paid this guy a ton of money, too much money. Hopefully, we see him get some action here.
Guys, this draft was fun. It was entertaining. I enjoyed every bit of it.
I learned to not draft with Drew. We hope you learned something too.
I have learned to not listen to Jake ever. Hey, yeah, we'll draft together. Don't worry. No. I think I picked 2 players.
Just think, one of you guys is in the league because we did this. And you picked more than that. You were the one talking everything through, and then you're like, it's your pick. It's your pick, dude. Go ahead. I don't want to do this. And you're putting me under the gun with like 7 seconds to go.
So then when we fail, it's all your fault. That's what I do that.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, guys, 4 sports around the bar. Fantastic show. I had fun. I hope you did too. I can't wait to see how this turns out. This is either going to be great or our team's going to be a disaster. And I don't know. There's no in between. I think we're either be like
dead last.
top three, or bottom 2. There's no in between.
I think we'll just be dead last. Guys, again, thank you all for the likes, comments, and shares. It means the world to us. I do want to give a special thanks to everyone out there that commented. And if I missed you, I'm so sorry because it's so much to pay attention to. But Sharif, Ian, Austin, Nathan, Michael, Ty, Justin, Steven, Neil, John, Jonathan, Bees, Chris, Michael, and Deo. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much for joining us during this fantasy football draft. And
we hope you helped. We hope we
was
helped
a
you a little
blast.
bit. We gave you a lot of thoughts on a lot of players. We hope you're kind of like in the same ballpark as us, and you're allowed to disagree. Again, these are just our opinions on where these guys stand. But we had fun. The fantasy draft was great. We're going to be back on Wednesday to talk about actual football.
And we hope to have...
No, don't say it because we don't know. Don't do it.
We hope...
I can't hurt again, Drew.
We hope to have a special guest in studio.
We do. We absolutely do.
That is important to us.
I'm ready to hurt again when we get stood up. So, for Sports Around the Bar, I am Jake, your bartender. This is Drew. We hope to see you on Wednesday. And again, guys, you guys had a great draft. It was fun. We hope to see you then to talk more sports with you.